sometimes you just have to sing. I have to sing your name and you have to sing my name. Do you agree?
Call me by your name and I'll call you by yours. What do they say in that?
Oh, I forget. Did they say something like that? I
Yeah.
Call me by your name and I'll call you by mine. Oh, how did I forget that iconic quote from Call Me by Your Name?
It was nice. Good movie.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Started Timmy's reign.
It really did. Timmy was floundering at 19 up until that point. Remember, he was in Lady Bird. He was in I forget what else. They didn't know what to do with him. Interstellar. Christopher Nolan was like, I don't know what to do with this kid.
Beautiful boy.
Beautiful boy. And then it just, I have to say, I'll admit it. I'll be the first one to admit it. It's been good career wise for him.
Epic run.
Epic run. He is going through it. Wonka, Complete Unknown, Dune
Little
2,
Women.
Little Women. Little Women was a huge step forward too, because Greta Gerwig got to capitalize on the Timmy love that she already had in Lady Bird, and then was like, hey, you're going to be a main character in this shit.
Yep.
Wonderful. But unfortunately, Timmy, you wanted, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to call him that. Timothy, you wanted.
I think he likes Timmy.
Oh, okay, good. Timmy, you wanted an Oscar? Sorry. They're going to make you wait for it a little bit. Even though you had two pictures nominated for Best Picture the same year, they say, absolutely not yet. You need to scrounge and scrape for about 20 more years before
The
you get an
Leo
Oscar.
treatment. Our
Yeah.
poor little stick of butter. But his speech would have been way better than Adrian Brody's, so they fucked up on that one.
Oh my God. Yeah. What I watched Adrian Brody's speech, all 45 minutes of it. I can't remember 1 second of it, except the gall of him to stop the be quiet music. I get so nervous when that music comes on. Do you feel like that?
Yeah. I mean, I would have been fine if he got 20 more seconds after the initial thing, if he had something to say. But
Yeah.
he had nothing to say, and there wasn't a single coherent thought throughout
No.
the whole
And
thing.
he goes, shut up. He goes, shut up. I've been through this before. I'm going to stay up here until you let me finish my whole speech. Shut up. Take my gum, by the way. He spit out his gum at his girlfriend. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, this is
That
not all
poor
about you.
Woman. She's
Georgina.
like had the worst life.
Yeah, it's not all about you, Adrian Brody. I know, great. You get 3 minutes up there, but like, let everybody else have time.
Do you think Harvey Weinstein was watching in cell block D and
Of
he's like,
course.
he can't call himself Papa to my kids?
Of course, Harvey was sitting there stewing in cell block D. And also thinking of him as an editing guy, he was like, let's snip that acceptance speech up a little bit. He could have taken probably about 3 minutes off that thing.
He's probably like, I could have gotten Timmy that Oscar.
Oh, the campaign I would have done for A Complete Unknown. Oh my God. Nora won all those awards. Wow, we could have.
He's like, God damn it!
Oh my God, you know he had the Oscars on in Rikers or wherever the hell he is. He goes, shut up!
I don't know how A Complete Unknown didn't sweep, because by my house there's a billboard that says A Complete Triumph.
Oh, who wrote that?
And I
Peter
was like,
Travers?
whoa.
Holy
he loves
shit.
to say someone
Peter
or something
Travers.
is a triumph.
Oh my God, he goes an
A
absolute
tour de force.
He says triumph like he's breathing air. A lot of stuff to talk about. I think that, I don't know. It was everything was pretty predictable to me. What I've learned about the Oscars is basically everyone gets an award at some point. Wicked, you get production design. A Real Pain, you get whatever the hell you won. You know what I'm talking about. Anora, you get 6
Anora's
Oscars.
sweep was a little surprising.
Yeah, they were deferring to the Cannes Film Festival. No offense, but they're just being copycats. They're just like, whatever was good for those people over there, the French, we succumbed to that as well.
French dominance.
Yeah.
It was out of control.
And it totally was. And yeah, it's that doesn't happen all the time, but with the Oscars, like, who knows what's going to happen? It's just complete shit. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, who they don't care, they don't know, they don't even watch the movies. They're like, I think I liked Nora the first half. So just a mess. But Conan, I mean, don't get me started. Conan did such a good job.
Obsessed. He's perfection. The sandworm playing chopsticks.
So fun, silly, light, irreverent, not too heavy. The musical number about not wasting time. I said, I'm in my element watching Conan. We are in safe hands here.
Yeah. I thought it was brilliant to have the firefighters tell jokes because it got to both honor them but be a silly thing, so it wasn't just like so serious, you know?
That was great. Very deft command of the stage. I was really proud of him up there. So congrats to Conan. We predicted that he would do excellent, and I think Turtle Time stands completely in what's that called?
Solidarity.
With Conan. You killed it, Conan. Don't let him take you away. Don't let him take anything away from you. That was a solid performance.
Give me Kimmel.
Absolutely not.
Although,
no one was saying that.
I did love, he handled the Carlos Sofia Gascon thing perfectly too, I thought. And when he was like, and if you're going to tweet about tonight, my name is Jimmy Kimmel.
I know. I like that too, referencing, that people might be thinking, where the hell's Jimmy here? And then I saw Jimmy even did promo because ABC or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like, it was kind of a promo for his show. And it was like, look at all the Oscar contenders that go on Jimmy's show too. I was almost like, let Conan have his time up here. They had to make it about Jimmy for a minute, in the ads. I was like, this
ABC and Disney is so greedy. They got that Deadpool in there. I was like, that was down from the top, that dancing Deadpool.
Oh my God. I couldn't even look. Was that after the sandworm?
It was like around the same time.
Well, amazing. And Nora, Sean Baker, what can you say? You win 5 Oscars. I mean, that's about as many as anybody could ever win.
He
to the moon.
Oscars gold.
You went searching for gold, and I would say a huge mine erupted around you. 5 Oscars for that film. Oh my God. Woo!
Yeah, good show. Enjoyed it. I liked that little Nosferatu man that did the Brutalist score. Like, what's that guy's deal?
I liked that too. He was I love when people have the antithetical energy to all of the buoyancy. And he just said, I forget what he even said. I like this award. Thank you so much. And then he started to walk off the wrong way. And then they had to correct where he went.
Oh my God, I get so stressed for those girls that have to tell every single celebrity that they're going the wrong way because everyone always goes the wrong way. I'm like,
I know.
Shitty job.
Yeah, I know. If for some reason you and I were ever nominated for an Oscar, you and we would be bolting the wrong way, and it would be like fully Quentin Tarantino would have to get us in the right direction.
Yeah, they should have tape on the floor. At my dermatologist's office, they have colored tape going to each room. So they go, follow the blue line.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
That you don't have to be like third door on the left or whatever. They go, follow the yellow tape. And I'm like, this is the level of direction that I need.
I would love that. I just feel like for Oscar nominees, now winners, they would forget to look at the ground for a second to see which direction to go in. But 9 times out of 10, that would be the remedy.
They should have had a yellow brick road.
That would be so cool to honor Wicked, the film, right? Because that's... Do they have the yellow brick road? I don't even remember it.
I think there's reference to it. They show.
They're building they're building some road. I think it's yellow.
Yeah, doesn't
Yeah, I think
he say that.
I think they're like, oh yeah, they're like, what should we paint? Oh yeah, Jeffrey Goldblum. He goes. I'm thinking of. Well, I can't do Jeff Goldblum, but he goes. I'm thinking of having a new road. Is it either going to be green or yellow? And I think Elphaba goes, why not yellow?
And he's like, that's sick. I love that Conan joke where he was like, everyone, the real story is where the minor characters in Wizard of Oz went to college.
Yeah, that was just the perfect balance of, irreverent, but also not too mean. And Wicked got a little piece of Oscar gold.
Yeah.
Right? Production design.
Costume and production design.
Perfect. Everybody's happy. I saw on this Instagram, Conan posted this thing and people go, you suck, Conan. Ariana was robbed. And I was like, was she nominated for Best Actor in a supporting?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was like, imagine the people who came with Oscars just being like, Ariana had to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, It's just like, you really can't please anybody.
Elphaba was leading and Glinda was supporting. I saw Bethany posted that Demi Moore deserved, I think she posted before the ceremony that it was Demi Moore's time, she had earned it career-wise or whatever. And all the comments on Bethany's corner of the internet were saying that Demi's on the flight logs. So you never know what you're going to get in that comment section.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, I haven't heard that one before.
Me either. Oh, she's on the flight logs. Oh boy, she's gonna have a rough couple days coming up pretty soon when that thing gets released. Well,
But yeah, Bethany is like, she kind of just like flip flops around the way, like she's always like, Hollywood is over. Like people want authenticity, and that's what we do here. Me and you talking back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But then she will talk about like Blake Lively and be like, SNL was a slay, and like Demi Moore should win. And then everyone's like, Hollyweird is hell. Like Bethany, we don't care. They're like Satan freaks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you like cultivated this audience that thinks that Hollywood is a cabal. So I guess you're not able to talk about that stuff anymore.
yeah, no, true. I haven't experienced that firsthand with Bethany, but she is kind of just, what's that called? Finding out where the wind is blowing and then giving a very strong, emphatic take about whatever,
Did you see she was supposed to go to dinner with Alex Earl, that podcaster, and Alex Earl accidentally stood her up.
Really?
Like she texted her and was like, because she had been posting about it for like, she did a get ready with me. She like, TikToks about every single thing. And then she texted her and was like, back booth on the left. And then she called her and was like, I literally didn't know it was today.
No
So
way.
then Bethany TikToked her entire dinner alone.
Oh my God.
And then some people on the internet were saying Bethany was milking it to make Alex look bad. Then other people were saying Alex Earl is a bad person because she ditched Bethany, and it turned to this whole like thing. But then they went to dinner again, and I was like, I hate that I'm following this so closely because I barely know who that person is.
Yeah, I fall on the side of Bethany milks anything.
Yeah.
And it's not for any reason other than just to milk what she can for content. It's about milking everything as much as you can milk it.
Yeah, she gets fired up.
Well, Bethany, I don't know how you felt about the Oscars. Honora, did you see it? What do you think about The Brutalist? I can't wait to find out.
She hasn't seen any of those movies.
Yeah, well, it was a wonderful night, and I feel like I said, everyone got a little piece of that Oscar statue.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty much. Flo.
Oh my God, I'm so happy about that.
Wild Robot, maybe?
No.
Oh, really? Well, it got a piece of, nominated.
It was nominated.
Hey, you're all winners in my book. Amy and I certify you all, except Adrian Brody. I already said I'm a little mad at you for going over your time. Everyone gets a little bit of an allotted time. That was a horrible speech, and you should be embarrassed today.
Yeah, and that Amelia Perez woman that sang.
She what?
That sang on the stage.
Oh, she sang? I did. She goes, oh God. When El Mal won, right? Yeah. She said, I'm going to end by singing a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would prefer someone singing than someone who goes up and just reads their pre-written thank yous, and it's like the most boring thing you've ever heard. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, my daughter. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, I like a little bit of it's. You got to really straight. You don't want Kieran Culkin.
Yeah.
You don't want Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
You don't want Mikey. What's Mikey's Madsen's name?
Yeah.
Is it Mikey Madsen?
Pretty, Madison.
Yeah. I also, no offense to her. I mean, she's never done this before, but it's like that was oh God, it sounds so mean.
I think Demi's speech would have been better, and Timmy's speech would have been better.
Timmy, I never saw that SAG award one where he said I'm one of the greats, but you know that Timmy would have something. I don't know. It would have
been fantastic.
He would have done probably Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? I mean, you and I are just gleaming. It's Oscars. They're over. We never have to talk about those movies again.
Yeah. No, we can move on. And then, I feel like not much else has happened. Oh, well, the Giggly Squad was on the Vanity Fair red carpet. There's not that much to say about it. I'm a little, no fault of theirs. I just think that like red carpet is like tired and it painful to watch, in my opinion. Hannah was good at it. Because she's like not really intimidated by anyone. She's like, get on in here. Like she's very like freewheeling, and so that was a little bit refreshing. I felt like Paige was a little more like out of her element. But yeah, I felt like they were just hiring every single influencer interviewer person. Like they had that chicken shop girl. They had like
chicken fry.
No, that's different.
Really? There's a chicken shop and a chicken
like
fry?
Amelia Moldenberg or whatever her name is.
Amelia de Moldenberg, chicken chop. I can't keep up.
Chicken
so how many?
shop date. Remember, she like always flirts with Andrew Garfield. It's like a thing.
What do you think our chemistry would have been if we were invited to the
Oh my god,
red carpet?
everyone would be like, "I'm not going the fuck over there. Who are those freaks? They look weird."
So Paige, you said, let's just say it. You said Paige seemed she was.
No, she was fine, but like it was like if she didn't have Hannah, I don't think that would be something that she would be doing alone. That was my opinion.
Hannah has a lot of experience doing those on the street interviews, you know. So
like it felt like Hannah was in more command.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
All right. Well, good. I mean, congrats to them. I mean, that's a win no matter what. I don't care what comes out of that. It's just them on the red carpet. That is so fun. Congrats to them. There was no other Bravo news. I saw Tom Schwartz. He said, some at E! News, they go, do you have any regrets about your business? And he goes, I only have one regret, putting my name on the building of the restaurant. I would never do that again in my life, he said.
Wow. He did that times 2.
I know. There's already another one with his name. But he said, I guess, I don't know why he means that, because I feel like if you're notable and people want to go to your bar, it makes sense. But maybe he meant like he doesn't want the brand of himself as well as his co-owner to sully, the brand and be so one-in-one a part of your ethos and where the business is actually affected by how people think about you as a person. So, reflection a little bit from Tom Schwartz.
Yeah, although the only reason that they can ever have businesses is because people know who they are.
Right, I know. That's why I said. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like you got to put Schwartz up there. It like makes if you both hadn't done something that people deemed to be pretty shitty, you would have loved having your name there in lights. But anyway, that's a little Tom Schwartz update. I just had to say that.
Great.
Anything else?
No, I'm just anxiously awaiting the freaking Valley to come back. I need it in my veins.
I know. I think so. I think we need a surge of Well, no, Summer House is killing it, but yeah, I need some Summer House in the Valley. I think that's going to be so much fun. When the hell is that coming out? We have no clue.
I think it's this month, but yeah, I feel like Summer House is always great, but it's not at its like juiciest right now.
Yeah, and I think something that we've been talking about a little bit, which is sad to report, is that I think that Southern Charm would have been in a different reality, providing a lot more juice for you and I, but it's almost like, I don't know, it hasn't unfortunately been that fun to talk about. So I feel like but of course, like always, this shit is gonna get
plug for what we're about to talk about.
But of course, Potomac, I thought Potomac was pretty fun. I thought Potomac was ripping. I mean, it's finally over, part 3, but I felt like that was an amazing part 3. But let's talk about Southern Charm first. That's the thing chronologically that people want to hear about probably, and then we'll talk about Potomac. But do you feel ready to rip into Southern Charm immediately?
Yes.
Okay.
I watched the after show too. There wasn't that much on there, but I have context for some of it. It feels like everyone is holding firm on the after show that like they make it sound like they're only talking about JT in the context of what they are talking about. Like they don't really seem to imply much background secret behavior that they're pissed about.
Right. So why did that guy Ryan say that he's dating a stalker or he's friends with I can't think about that if there's no real evidence of it. I don't just believe Ryan, this person that I've never seen before in my life. Like you have to give me the evidence against JT or else I'm going to think he's innocent and you all are bullying him,
Was the stalker thing different than the revenge porn thing?
Oh my God, what's that? I didn't hear about that.
Someone sent me something that there's like a revenge porn element.
JT
So I'm like,
did that?
is he like an evil monster? I just need someone to put it all in one place.
I can't deem him an evil monster based off whispers that I am hearing. I have only what to go off that I have. I've seen him on Instagram. I watched him last season. I've seen him in a lot of different contexts. I mean, if he's I saw him riding around on his bodyguard's back at BravoCon. If he's secretly doing a bunch of horrible shit, it needs to be called out within the context of the show. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be supportive of JT and being like, you all are treating him horribly if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know about this revenge porn shit.
Well, it seems like, okay, so also, I'm just going to say this so I don't forget, but Vanita posted on her stories after this week's episode aired that they rearranged the order of events, which I have to imagine isn't uncommon, except that it's like they completely framed her then.
Yeah. No, it's really bad. There were a lot of
yeah.
problems. There were a lot of like editing problems and production problems about this. The way JT was treated, the fact that that lie was able to simmer for about 10 episodes without being brought up by multiple different people showed me a lack of producerial care in making this season coherent. And then all this shit that we're talking about in the background that we're not getting, they're cutting deliberately shit out that might make JT look worse. And then that is a really sloppy mistake to do to Vanita. The fact that Vanita, a second or third time cast member, this is maybe her third season, no, or maybe even longer, the fact that she just got, if she wouldn't have said that, we would think that she ran into JT's room after knowing he had a girlfriend to try to have sex with him, to make him cheat on his girlfriend. That is awful. I'm so glad that she cleared that up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues going on in Southern Charm. And I think that's what you and I are witnessing, even though we might not know what's going on behind the scenes. It just doesn't, it seems like a sloppy mess.
Totally.
Speaking of a sloppy mess.
Yes. Lost at Sea episode.
Yeah. What'd you think about that? They weren't.
No.
I think it should have been called Rose Island.
Huh.
Well, because that's what that island that they go to was, and it has the double entendre of...
I didn't know that's where they went.
Oh, yeah, because I'll tell you this later, but when you go there, there are these pink granules of sand, and so it gives it its beautiful name, and when they get there, they go, this is Rose Island, and Shep goes, a whole island named after me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, JT arrives immediately. Not immediately, he arrives finally, and they give him classic, this guy's a dunce music. They go, doo-doo, doo-doo, like, this guy sucks. Why is this guy joining us? This guy's awful. Like, complete flop music. I'm like, that is so mean. I don't agree with this interpretation of JT. But anyway, that's just for me. He texts Vanita. He arrives, and he goes, Vanita. He goes, please help me out with these shoes. Which one do I wear? Dark brown or light brown? She goes, a light brown, buddy. And so he immediately gets the good shoe advice from Vanita.
Yes.
Did you like the shoes that he ended up wearing?
Probably not. Yeah, she's like kind of obsessed with him. She's like, there's just a different type of joy when JT is in the room. Like
I love it. I really love it. I am really warming up and opening up to Vanita. Seeing her in this context, having a part of the narrative that's hers, and her speaking out against this fabricated edit and all this shit. I'm like, I'm enjoying. I don't think Vanita had a lot to do, or they weren't including her in the edit as much the last 3 or 4 seasons that she's been involved. But I'm getting a sense of her now, and I like this JT and her dynamic.
He should have just dated her.
I know. He really loves that stalker that's has a restraining order against her.
There was on the after show, Madison, I think it's Madison and Craig together, and they basically were discussing whether or not they thought Vanita actually likes JT, or they wouldn't say these words, but they were like, did she just do it for the show?
She likes him. Branzino dinner, yummy, yummy, yummy. Look how he looks in his shirt. She totally did not have to say, I love this guy. I see palpable chemistry when she
cried about him being mistreated. But when she posted that Instagram story, I didn't know where it was going at first. She goes, that night with the Branzino, and I was like, is she going to be like,
I wish I would have put it on a
I
table.
knew I should have had a table and chairs.
That's why I sent it to you. It was that night with the Branzino ... I should have put it on a table. Yeah. No, I like that. I was just thinking, I like that Madison and Craig are like are saying that an aspect of the show that I actually like might be fake. It's like, it's already garbage, and then you're adding a part that I actually like and saying that might be fake too. Like, do you want to make this show seem even worse this season?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, it's kind of all falling apart that the cast keeps posting, like, look at all the shit that we've done that you haven't seen. And I'm trying to determine, I know that all shows have lost scenes, like, always.
Of course.
But it seems like potentially there's, like, a lot that is getting chopped, and it's kind of curious. Like, it feels like a little bit out of the ordinary.
I think there's an active rebellion against this edit of Southern Charm by all the cast members, by Rodrigo, by Ryan, by Vanita. Madison had to post that thing of them all partying and having fun. I think they do not like how this season is chopped up.
And have we already talked about, were you the one that sent me that it's like Jebediah from, what's his name?
I have heard whispers
VPR.
that Jebediah raced over from Vanderpump Rules, and he goes, "How can I ruin another show and potentially tank the shit out of it?" And that Jebediah got fired halfway through. These are all just random rumors, but no, I don't know enough to say. But I mean, if Jebediah did this to Southern Charm, it's like, get the hell out of here.
He should be shamed out of Hollywood.
Yeah, but is Jebediah responsible for some of the best seasons of Vanderpump Rules, and then maybe he lost his Midas touch?
Yeah, good question.
Maybe he didn't know how to work in the Southern Charm universe. He goes, this shit works on Vanderpump Rules, and Southern Charm, maybe they don't adhere to the same sort of rules that Jebediah wants them all to work under. But either way, we have to say something feels slightly off about how this season is edited and put together. Let's just state that definitively.
Season 9 of Southern Charm?
Yes.
Because I'm just like,
yes.
No, season 10.
Season 10. I knew it. I knew it. It was season 10.
So is it the 10-year slump? Like,
yeah,
you know?
Famously, a lot of shows have that 10-year slump. That's why Friends couldn't make it to season 10. Yeah, I think it's quite possibly the 10-year slump. Well, we've already talked about it too. You know, we've said this before, but there's also the casting problem that I always call out, where the dearth between the A-level talent and the B-level talent is way too wide to make this compelling.
Did you see, not to shit on her every week, or I'm pretty sure it's a woman, but Queens of Bravo posted a picture that like Rodrigo is in an upcoming clip, and she posted like a picture of like, I think it was Sally Draper like screaming. Yeah. And I'm like, who, like, I can't think of a person that elicits less of a response like that from me than Rod.
Yeah. I mean, even people who enjoy Rodrigo don't have the Sally Draper screaming meme about him appearing in upcoming episodes. I think, I'll just say this, Queens of Bravo, don't sue us, allegedly. I think Bravo celebrities Venmo Queens of Bravo $1,000 for Queens of Bravo to pretend they're the most engaging Bravo celebrity in the world.
It's always like the most random person where you're like, that's who you love?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean,
she put, because Watch What Happens Live did well last week or whenever it was, and she goes, if you want ratings, have Crystal Minkoff as a guest. I'm like, what are you saying?
What are you saying? I mean, I'm not surprised anymore, because this is what we dealt with season 1 and 2 of New Roni. It was like this every single week. It was like Sai De Silva. I need more and more. Sai, feed me more Sai. It's like, what the hell? No one thinks like this. But anyway, that's funny. But I do think Crystal Minkoff, allegedly, I bet you paid $1,500 for Queens of Bravo to say you were really good on Watch What
Happens. My way.
Oh,
change everything I've ever said.
Oh my God.
All of a sudden we're like, no one more iconic.
Yeah, it's just Queens of Bravo. It's so funny. What I think it's funny is that just like anybody can say anything. Like, anybody can say anything in the world. That's what I thought about on Potomac. Everyone is pretending like TJ is now this truth teller and Stacy is this awful villain. I'm like, anybody could just say anything in the world. Like, everyone has a take, everyone has opinion, and that's why Turtle Time, we actually can't be bought. Don't even try to Venmo us. We are fully honest with every single take. Those sentiments we have are 100% genuine. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we're risking it all.
We really are. Okay.
We're like fucking Snowden and who's WikiLeaks?
Julian Assange. Can I be Snowden?
Sure.
Because Assange, I'm a little worried.
Reality winner.
Reality winner. That was a big one. Oh my gosh. I want to be the guy. Well, never mind. No, I want to be Snowden, please. He wasn't that bad.
Where's he at? Russia still?
Snowden. I unfortunately think he's in a little room in Russia. And then Assange is out. They just said, don't do that again.
Slap on the wrist.
There you go. Hey, you're not getting 10 feet near a computer that has government secrets on it.
Well, maybe, I mean, if Snowden's in Russia, like any day now, there will be like a bridge welcoming both ways.
Hey.
Like he could just walk right in.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. It's quite possible. I prefer to think of us as Woodward and Bernstein.
Well, did you see Woodward was getting beat up at that SNL 50?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so glad you brought it up. Bill Murray. Oh my god, this shocked me to my core. Bill Murray. I don't know what podcast he was on. He said,
what is he promoting? Why is he like nonstop on my screen all the time?
I think Bill Murray famously only gets contacted by a lawyer. He doesn't have agents. He doesn't have a manager. He has this one lawyer who he goes to a payphone, and this guy Bill. Or no, sorry, his name is Bill. His agent's name is Bob. Or sorry, lawyer's name is Bob. I think his lawyer just says, "Hey, you got offered another Wes Anderson in September. Do you want to do it?" He goes, "Yes." "Hey, SNL 50, that's coming up in January. Do you want to do it?" "Yes." "Hey, Joe Rogan sent you an email 3 years ago being a guest. Do you want to do it?" "Yes." And that's how he gets. He's just famously very elusive. But I think he just got all of his updates and offers, and he's responding to all of them right now.
Yeah, I saw a Twitter thread from I think it was Richard Dreyfuss's son.
Yeah.
And he was like, because I guess John Belushi was dating his mom at the time of his death, and there's some tape that Woodward.
Oh my God, yes. Woodward said.
Woodward was like, "Give me the tape."
He goes, "I gotta see that, dude." He goes, "Don't you?" This is Harvey again. "Don't you know who I am? I wrote the Watergate shit. My name is Bob Woodward. If you don't give me that tape, you're gonna look like complete fucking shit in my book." So Bill Murray on this podcast, I don't know what the hell this podcast was. He goes, "But I read this book called Wired, which I didn't know Bob Woodward ever wrote a book about John Belushi. What the hell was he doing?" But he wrote a book, and he goes, "I read 5 pages of that." And he goes, "When you know a subject, and then you see it, someone writing about them, and you find out that everything about it is complete bullshit, the way they talked, the way people talk about them." He goes, I cannot look or think about another thing that Woodward has ever written about in his life, because if he got 5 pages about John Belushi wrong, then what the hell else has he gotten wrong during his entire journalistic career? And then that's when Ben Dreyfuss said, "I also have a horror story about Bob Woodward." Did you see that at the Oscars, they were in a little mingling room and Bob Woodward was screaming at Bill Murray?
Why was he there?
Bob Woodward, I don't know. He wanted to go to the Oscars to confront Bill Murray.
It was Bernstein that was married to Nora Ephron, right?
Is that Bernstein?
And he was like a cheater. And I think
Bernstein was?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jack Nicholson plays him in Heartburn.
Oh my God. I mean, I've read like 8 of Bob Woodward's books. So the fact that I could have been just reading a bunch of garbage makes me bummed out. But I don't know. I guess I'll say this. The one even close article that you and I had a connection to, I'm going to be very vague.
Okay.
There were 3 factual errors in it. The one thing that we've ever been associated with. And that did make me have a slight grain of salt about, oh my God.
Legacy media is dead.
And I'm not, Bob Woodward is a legendary reporter. Bernstein and him, Watergate.
What prizes do they have? They must have them all.
Oh, what are the journalistic prizes you can get? Pulitzer? Yes. And I love his books, but I'm not going to take away from Bill Murray, who knew Jim Belushi. If he says Jim Belushi would never say something like this, he knows Jim Belushi better than maybe the outside circle knew. So Bill Murray, it's okay for him to have a grievance against Woodward. But Woodward, I don't think you should have tried to punch him in the face at the Oscars.
Fist fight.
Okay, are we at, or what, you want to say anything else?
That was a tangent of the century, but I don't even remember why that happened. But
because we are the Woodward and Bernstein. We were saying you're Snowden. Right. I said I wanted to be a Snowden, but I want to be the most objective reporters. And if Woodward now has this stain, I need to think of a new reporter. Yeah. Maggie Haberman and the other reporter from Australia, Jonathan Swan. Do you know that guy?
No.
He's the one who did
his work.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll think of 2 new reporters.
Well, it all comes back to he's like writes books, but Lawrence Wright. He has his facts straight always, right?
Oh, you can't bust. If Murray was talking about right in that interview, he'd go, "This is the most factual shit I've ever seen in my life."
Cross-checked into oblivion. Okay, well, we need one of those trustworthy people to get to the bottom of what JT has done that makes everyone hate him so much.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, it should be you and I, but we just can't do it. So, what happened? Okay. They all come to dinner, right? They're all walking out. Shep, what'd you think about Shep's outfit?
He looked like shit. Underdressed, poorly dressed.
Oh, and immediately when JT walks out of the room, he goes, "Guess who's here?" And everyone turns their back towards him except Shep. And have you ever been in that? I've been in situations like that. Have you ever walked out of a hotel room and you're about to get in a bus with people that you thought you were friends, and 90% of them don't greet you and they're mad at you?
Rude.
Yeah, it sent him over the edge because he said to travel in a different country, to show up, to do all that work, and then to be greeted like that with people just turning their back and only having Shep. I think it hurt his feelings a lot. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people could deal with that. And then they get to dinner. They have a reservation, and I noticed this. Whitney goes. He goes, "We got a reservation." He goes, "Come on down, baby." And he did a full Elvis. Did you hear that?
Unhinged.
Yeah.
I'm like more judgmental of him than ever. Like he like freaks me out.
I sent you a couple more after you said the thing about Whitney kind of going to bars and people finding him in the corner drunk and him going, "Do you want to come to my house?" I saw like 6 or 7 on my algorithm, and it was like Whitney, and he looks like this. Just go on YouTube. He's like this, and it says, "Whitney just told me to come to the biggest house in Charleston, and he made me write his number down." And Whitney looks drunk off his ass.
Yeah, and the girl he's talking to is like 21 years old. Like she's so young.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so then they get to the table. Sally's like, "I don't want to sit by this guy."
What'd you think about that?
I mean, it was aggressive, which is like, I'm like, is this really all because he said that you were the other woman? Like in her instance, it seems like there's more there than I don't know.
Explain it then. You're only letting us know what it is, and I thought it was mean. You can't sit near me. I don't want to sit near you. Like, I thought it was very childish and mean-spirited. I don't like that. And Sally, I'm just getting to know you as a viewer. I didn't like that at all, unless there's some context we don't know. Craig has to sit on the corner. Mm-hmm. Which he does not like. You can see him fuming the entire dinner.
Yeah, he switches. He's like sunburned as hell. Shep gets up from his end of the table and comes to talk to Sally on the side. And then they're talking about Sienna for a little. And he's like, "I know that she knows that we click and she doesn't want to lose that." And it's like, no, she doesn't like you.
I know he still has that stance, even though she didn't show up to dinner and it's going so badly. Craig is kind of like, "I've been dealing with this all day. I just want to hear what he's saying over there." But basically like Shep can't get it through his head that this is over, and he's kind of being hard-hearted. And then Austin is, because he's mad at Craig, he's going, "This Craig, he's he's not sympathetic at all to Shep's plight." But there's probably a halfway medium between what they're both doing and how to deal with this, because Shep does seem to need a little bit of that what's that called, black and white thinking that Craig is offering, being like, it's very clear cut she doesn't like you.
Right. Then he goes and gets sympathy from Molly. He's like, "What about this text? My heart sings when I'm with you." And she's like, "It's so sweet. You're poetic." Like, I would love to get a text like that.
She goes, "Freckled lips? They are freckled. That is beautiful." I was so afraid that he was going to do the same thing where he goes, "And now that concludes my TED Talk," and make that same smile. But they must have either cut it out or he didn't say that to Molly.
Horrible. And Madison is like, "Hello, like Molly obviously actually likes you, you idiot. Like you should just date her." But yeah, Shep's like, "Molly, wouldn't you be over the moon if you got a text like that?" And she's like, "I really would."
She's like, "I'm already on the moon reading this beautiful thing." At one point, Whitney sucks down an oyster and he goes, "Nothing like warm water oysters." And I was like, "That's not." I know that's a rich person thing. I've never even thought about that. Oysters are worse if they come from warm water.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but he's also missing a tooth. Did you notice that?
He lost a tooth while he was in the Bahamas.
Well, he didn't have one while he was there. I don't know when he lost it.
Whitney is falling apart. Patricia, I know that you love Turtle Time, but and I'm not even saying this. This is not defamation. You don't want to go on those TikToks where you see Whitney trolling and trawling for people in the Charleston bars, drunk as hell, inviting them back to your house. I think Whitney needs some guidance.
Yeah. He needs to stick to those clubs where you're not allowed to take videos, like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, he can't risk this.
Yeah. What's that one in New York that we always talk about? Not Che Capri.
The one that
Cesani?
like Casa Cipriani or
yeah.
something.
Don't they say you can't even bring out your phone for 1 second to take a photo so that like Taylor Swift and Leo can go there?
You don't watch White Lotus, but there's a thing where they're like, put your phone in a bag.
Oh, really? Is White Lotus good so far? I
like it, but it is like we're in episode 3 and nothing has yet to occur.
I think he kind of he lost me with what he did with Michael Imperioli's character last season. I was like, why did you cast Michael Imperioli? You gave him absolutely nothing to do the entire season. I mean, no, that wasn't that offensive, but I'm just not very compelled to watch it. Okay. Where are we at in this dinner? Oh, Ryan and Sally say, so JT's sitting there and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm having fun. I like warm water oysters. He's being completely normal. But then all of a sudden, Ryan and Sally try to address the elephant in the room, and they're like, they've got their new cast member hats on, so they think that every dinner you have to like create the most climactic moment, and I kind of didn't appreciate that from both of them. But Sally's like, I want to have this fight with you now about why we hate each other. And even Ryan was like saying that too. He was trying to get a little piece of the action, and JT was like, I do not want to have this conversation now. I'm just settling in. You guys are already mean to me, and I don't want to have a big blowout right now. But then Craig is the one who kind of takes it to the next level.
Yeah, the overwhelming sentiment on the after show was that everyone was saying that he wouldn't say a word. And it's like he flew all the way there and then he refused to have an argument on camera. And Austin was like, do you know how many times I've been like, I'll talk about that later? And that people go, no, we're going to talk about it now. Like, that's kind of the name of the game. And it is kind of like, why did you fly all the way there if you weren't going to have a head-to-head? Because otherwise, like, you could have just not come because you left immediately anyways.
Yeah, yes, I agree. I totally agree. And obviously, what would these shows be if everybody said, I'd like to talk about that in the finale or something? Yeah. That would be horrible. But for me, like, I felt the inauthenticity of them demanding to have an argument with him at that dinner the minute he got there. Like, you know what I mean? And the fact that it was coming from Sally and Ryan, who I know need compelling drama to stay on the show, I didn't like it coming from them. But I'm fine with Craig being like, just apologize to everyone. Like, that was okay to me.
No, watching Ryan in his Miss Pat after show chair, it's just like so desperate. Like, he's having to relay everything to her, and like it's so like pointed the way he talks about stuff, and it's just like, dude, like, you don't even go here. Like, who are you? Like, what are you talking about?
I feel really bad, but it's like, really, like, he should have been a friend of, which I'm sure he is, but technically, but like, he should have just been few and far between. Like, he did not need the full-blown bump to full-time going on the Bahamas trip. Let us get to know you this first season before, because now it's very jarring to see him anywhere he goes. We have no rapport with Ryan. I can't believe he's even on the after show. I
know, totally. So yeah, now we get into the like Miss Pat, calling Miss Pat a bitch stuff. Yeah. He says, still, I absolutely did not do that. Madison is like, Craig would not make that up. Taylor's the only one that's like, I really don't see him saying that. I think it was on the after show, Sally was like, I could see him saying it in a second.
Okay.
Shep remains on record. He's like, I didn't hear it. So, like, I cannot confirm or deny I did not hear it. Yeah. Craig tries to be like, well, you also talk shit about Austin and his girlfriend and Madison and her husband. Yeah. So then it turns into Madison being like, did he use the word affair? Which he didn't.
Yeah, but I don't even remember what was the affair? That Madison was potentially having an affair with JT?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I also didn't like that Craig tried to be like, well, that maybe that didn't happen, but will you agree that this happened? It's like, no, he wants to talk about the Miss Patricia being a bitch right across the table from Whitney, who's listening to this and possibly hearing this. Like, just because he might have said one other thing does not mean that he called Miss Patricia a bitch. And Craig goes, I heard it loud and clear. It's like, no, you didn't.
He's a total liar. Madison at this point at least says, I'm realizing that what Craig said could have been blown out of proportion. So everyone's starting to be like, Craig is kind of full of shit, but it's not, I feel like they just want to run with the ball, so they don't care that much, but everyone kind of knows that Craig is a liar.
Yeah. But Taylor and Vanita both, I want to give them credit. They both stand strong against the opposition. Even though JT is the most unpopular person in the world right now with their group, they both say, that does not sound like JT at all. So I'm proud of them. Because Molly and Sally and Rodrigo and Ryan go the way the wind blows. Mm-hmm. Not brave at all. Just like, this guy sucks. You know what I mean?
Well, they're probably like, I don't really care. Like, I don't know him, so.
Yeah. Well, Molly specifically has that opinion. She goes like, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but now I'm so over it, so fuck that guy. I was like, damn, that sucks for JT.
Yeah. So yeah, they're Craig and JT are getting pissed off. I think JT says, what you said flamed us. And Craig is like, what you said flamed us. And then Craig, as always, he loves to flee the scene. He's like, it's not going to be good if I stay here, so I'm going to go over to the bar. I think Ryan joins him for some reason. He's like, let's get some one-on-one camera time.
Ryan goes, I'll go talk to Craig. And then Ryan also says at one point, he came to dinner just to call you a liar. I was like, oh my God, Ryan, you're giving such awful advice. You're backing Craig up with, you don't know the situation. And now you want to make Craig even madder. It's like, it's a worst case scenario for a new cast member to be doing this.
Well, it is weird that the show has set up JT in this way, but also every time Craig is accused of being a liar, they have a clip show ready to prove that over the years he's a liar. Like, they have new clips like every time I open my eyes. So like they're kind of like playing both sides.
I know. Yeah, yeah. The way they're handling the whole JT stuff, it's a mess.
Yeah, like on one hand, they did the full footage not found, like implying that there's like he did not say it, and then they always have footage of Craig lying. But then the show itself, like the infrastructure of the show, doesn't support him.
Yeah. What if right when he took his mic pack off, JT at that simulated golf, he goes, by the way, Patricia's a bitch.
No one will ever believe you.
And Craig goes, I know, I heard it. I just don't remember when. But I don't, truly, I don't think he said it. I have to say, use some other evidence against JT because you do not have me in your court. At one point, Austin is trying to make this his thing. He goes, you little piece of shit. You come on our trip and you don't apologize and I fucking hate you. And by the way, you're a piece of shit that is on my shoe. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? That is so mean. This is a human being.
Weasel.
You little fucking weasel. You're nothing but a piece of shit on my shoe. It's like, oh my God.
Well, that's why I'm like, what is going on? Because it doesn't seem like Austin gets that pissed off about anything ever. It's like when, remember when everyone in the summer house tried to beat up Luke? Like they all came
of course,
running out of the house. And till this day, I'm like, what the fuck happened there?
I have no clue. Remember, and then Craig went back upstairs and started crying. Carl went back upstairs and started crying. Do you remember?
It was insane. I mean, I guess we could chalk that up to COVID, but sometimes there's this stuff where I'm like, yeah, if there's more information, let me know because I don't understand what's happening.
Totally. That's exactly how I feel. Austin is also, I know it, and I love Austin, but he is sort of scrambling this season to figure out what he wants to do and what he wants to say as fodder for entertainment. They're all kind of they're struggling here. You can sense it. So Austin was like, oh, rematch between me and JT. I'm going to go for it. But it's so removed from the initial time because JT just sat out for 10 episodes that anger feels so out of place from Austin to be calling him a little speck of shit or whatever the hell he was saying.
Yeah,
so
crazy. Then Craig is like kind of pissed that Shep didn't say more, and Shep is like, dude, like I keep it real, which he generally does. Like he's pretty like a good mediator.
I was so proud of Shep too for not just going with the group and just saying what Craig said. He's like, I'm on record saying that I did not hear that. And then Craig is getting pissed off, he's calling him he drops a P bomb on him multiple times.
Not a P bomb.
I mean, and Shep, it was probably hard for Shep to go against Craig. And at one point he says, I had to make things right with Craig. Craig scares me.
Wait, what letter words does JT not use? B, C, and P?
Yeah, he said he never said, and so Craig doesn't mind saying P.
P-bomb. Okay, so they leave. Vanita's crying over this. She goes, that is my best friend at this table. And JT's already waiting on the bus. He's like, get me the fuck out of here. And I'm like, damn, like you took that whole flight for nothing. Like, like not to even like talk.
Yeah.
He's like, I feel like a piñata. And Vanita keeps being like, are you mad at me? Like, can we talk? And he's like, not on camera. Like, he's already like, no.
And also JT says, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. And Whitney goes, don't leave. He goes, Joe, you got to have a conversation with someone. I was like, oh my God. Even Whitney, the executive producer, is saying you should stay. I mean, I'll say it now. JT should not have left.
Yeah.
I mean, he left the court for people to rail against him. He did not provide counter evidence for them to absolve him. So he lets them all run with the most slanderous rumors about him. So Whitney had good advice. Then they cut to Whitney and Shep in a casino floor, and it was giving the boys that go to the Lost Boys island in Pinocchio. Do you remember? Do you remember when those boys...
We speak of it often.
Pleasure Island? It was like those bad boys getting shuttled off to Pleasure Island.
Did you end up going on that ride when you went to Disneyland? It's
yes.
Like a little... Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it's so scary. All of the storybook rides are really scary. I was screaming. Snow White was scary. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Oh my God, you end up in hell at the end.
It's literally just like slats of wood painted.
Yeah, but you end up. Speaking of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, also Shep references that. But you end up in hell for drunk driving. It's a
like Karen.
I know. It's a lesson that I think as few Bravo celebrities should be going on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride more often. Yes, I did go on Pinocchio, but I knew when I saw Whitney and Shep shambling through the casino,
God.
I was worried.
Shep is not reformed. Like, why did Whitney take him there?
Because Whitney wants another lost boy for Pleasure Island. He wants
God.
to have the gambling and cigar smoking. He was ready to get drunk. And then Vanita decides to have, I think cameras, they weren't down yet. Vanita goes, hey, I'm going to put on some pajamas. And they go, let us follow you wherever you're going. And that's when she goes, knock, 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 up to JT's room. And JT goes, don't bring the cameras in here. And then you just hear them say hi to each other. And then it cuts to black.
Yes. She says that once she got in there, she straddled him and said, don't act like you don't want this as bad as I do.
Yeah. It was so, so when I thought it was cheating. I thought it was that she was ignoring the advice or whatever, but I was still very surprised that Vanita went into JT's room, and JT said she straddled him twice. He had to pull her off of his lap twice to avoid having sex with her. But it's so much more... it makes so much more sense that it was before the Branzino dinner. I thought Vanita was completely out of character. She didn't care if JT cheated on his girlfriend. Knowing that this happened before that beautiful dinner makes so much more sense. She just had feelings for JT and she wanted to make love to him in the Bahamas. Something that anyone in the world would want to do.
Unfortunately, I saw her story before I watched the episode, so I didn't get that raw
that was
experience.
Because of me. I'm so sorry.
No,
that was
I
because
watched
of me.
it yesterday.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Like 4 days late.
I should have left you that mystery.
No.
Okay. So then wake up. Next morning, the water's running in the boys' room. There's pizza. There's Fiji water bottles. It's like they're all hungover. That's when Vanita says, guess what? I straddled JT, but then he said, please get off my body. I don't want to cheat on my girlfriend with you tonight.
Right. Then Shep crawls into bed with Craig, and he's like, I got all your missed calls. I really spiraled last night. I woke up on a beach chair, and I'm like, okay, it's giving BravoCon 23 all over again. Like him roaming a casino, blackout. There's footage.
He's lucky we weren't there near him.
Seriously, we would have been like, Shep, come hang out with us.
Shep. He woke up on a beach chair, and I mean, he admits he basically just was blackout drunk.
Oh
they
my God.
they had to peel him off the floor of the casino. He couldn't stand on his legs.
Sometimes I'm like, I'm always like, I drink too much. Like, I have like one too many wines or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, like, he's operating on another level.
Yeah. I think I've only been blackout drunk like maybe twice in my life.
Right.
Like it takes for.
It's like unpleasant.
Oh, I know. I don't want to do it. Imagine what you do while you're blackout drunk. You have no recollection of it. So yeah, he spiraled, like you said, and Craig, for the first time, Craig is giving, well, no, it's not the first time, but he's giving good advice. He just says, whatever led you to do that, that is not healthy, which it's true. I mean, That is not good. Shep doesn't want to be in that situation. That was exactly what he was trying to renounce after BravoCon at the reunion.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm in love, man. What can I say? Like, he's just like so fucked up about this whole situation.
And he said, your thinking is too black and white for me. I'm not like you, Craig. Because Craig is really that harsh truth, which is kind of a new thing. Ever since he's been with Paige, I feel like he's like, I know all the answers, and I'm more rigid, and I am the... I have the truth on my side and stuff.
Yeah. Should we just cover the Paige FaceTime while we're on this topic? Because
of course,
Craig is like, Paige is on the line. You should get some raw female truth from her. Oh. And she's honest. She's just like, with long distance, if it's already shaky, it will only get shakier. She's like, obviously, you've said everything you want to say, so now it's on her. If she doesn't return your energy, let her go. If she's not texting you back, if she's not trying to spend the night, hang out, meet her family, whatever, she doesn't like you.
Yeah. It's such powerful advice, and she's so right. I mean, it's the truth. Obviously, Sienna does not like Shep even close to how he feels about her. So I'm sure it's helpful to hear that straight from Paige. It was great. It was a good scene. I'm glad Paige provided her input on that one.
Yes. Then we get JT comes to Madison's room to hash it out. And he, first of all, gives her a box of cigars that he had originally bought for Whitney and Patricia. And he's like, well, I guess you can keep them and you can decide who smokes them.
That was really sweet. A nice little gift. And I'm really proud of Madison for allowing this. If she was harsher and wanted to take that affair thing and run with it even more, she could have just said, absolutely, I'm gonna deny you a scene. I was really very proud of her that she let JT have this moment. And it is because she starts to see that Craig might not have had all the facts on his side at that dinner when he said the things that he repeated that JT didn't say.
Yeah. She was pretty like chill. Like she sort of would jokingly let him have it, but generally she was pretty nice to him. He's like, sorry that I brought up that FaceTime thing to Craig. It wasn't meant to be a hit job. And she's like, well, it did hurt my feelings. And he's like, but what hurt your feelings? Because I didn't say anything bad. It's all because of Craig's telephone game of bullshit.
Yeah. And in reality, JT was saying something that is typically would just inspire a dramatic series of events like any cast member would do. JT got a call from Brett after last year on that trip where Brett was trying to ask specifically what Madison did when she got into a hotel room one night to make sure that she didn't cheat on him with Austin or JT. It's a pretty big bombshell to have to offer up to camera. So I do feel like he maybe didn't have the best intentions, but on a different season, that's completely par for the course. It would get handled properly. It's because there's so much buildup without JT that it only got to this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the second he said it, it sounded correct.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I believe you.
No, I know. And that's why I'm saying, like, Madison is treating JT like shit for something that her husband actually did. He did it. Like, explain why your husband felt so jealous about you and Austin's relationship. Is he harboring that jealousy all the time? Is this something you guys talk about often? That's more interesting than 90% of the shit that's going on this season.
Totally. So, yeah, it's like she tries to get him to go on the boat, and he's like, I'm not going. And she's like, don't coward out. And he's like, there's no way of going on that. So he's
horrible
just gonna
move.
turn around and leave.
Horrible move. It's awful. He could have made his case on that boat. Shep would have been there. Madison is kind of turning. He has Taylor. He has Vanita. He has a decent amount of allies. There are people, Bravo celebrities, who have been through a lot worse.
Yeah.
James Kennedy in the thick of it, season 3 and 4 on Vanderpump Rules, when absolutely nobody liked him. So JT, like, you're gonna have to face issues like this. That was a bad move to just leave. But he also did say, I don't want Vanita to come straddle me in my room again because I might cheat on my girlfriend if she does that a couple more times.
Oh yeah, he had to flee because he was being victimized. And then Shep, they're on their way to the boat, and Sienna goes, it never ends. She goes, I might not make the boat. I'm running late, so I'll meet you later. And he's like, well, what's your ETA? Like, he's basically saying, like, we'll wait for you. And she's like, I don't know how late I'll be. I'll meet you later.
Man, I can't believe it, but we've parsed it enough. It makes doesn't make any sense. Shep is so bummed. And also, we have to give Craig credit. At the dinner, he goes, she said she's not coming to our dinner, but that Shep said that she's coming on the boat, and she is not going on the boat. So Craig was completely right about Sienna not coming on this trip.
Right. Shep fully mopes.
Yep.
Is it Austin who says that he's Charlie Browning?
Yeah, and they show it, and Shep is to a T copying Charlie Brown's famous walk where his head is down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Madison is like, did she break up with you? And he goes, not really. I'm like, I wish that she did. Like, just cut the tie.
Sienna ruined Shep's Bahamas trip. Can we just say that?
Yeah. I mean, she's the only reason they even went there, which is why it's so funny. Like, it's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
But...
I like this. The ship is called the Silver Dancer, if I'm remembering correctly. And the captain says, if one of you even touch that pole for more than 3 seconds, the captain demands that you dance your ass off on that thing. I thought that was such a fun rule on the boat.
Yes. Yeah. I saw, was it in the regular show? I think I saw a clip, but like Molly tried to do it and she just like fell directly to the ground.
She did? Oh, I didn't see that.
So yeah, we get some flirtation with her and Shep on this trip. She says she's been celibate for years, I think. And then it gets into, he's like, but what? He's basically like, what do you do when you're horny?
Yeah, he goes, if you get that horny, what kind of release is there sexually? And she goes, masturbation. He goes, I didn't want to say it, but I figured it was probably masturbating.
He's like, I love that you said that. Like, she's so cool.
Yeah.
Vanita is like sad about JT. Meanwhile, JT is packing.
Yeah.
I also feel like everyone on the boat got like fucked up. Like they were like sun-soaked and drunk because by the time they get into the water, I think Austin yells, Sally, show us your tits.
Yeah. So I saw that was quite possibly something that Austin said. I rewatched it, and yes, he did. He said, Sally, show us your tits.
Like, what the fuck?
And then Molly kind of tries to go with it. She goes, Vanita, you also do the same thing. But Austin started it, saying that. I was really surprised.
He has a girlfriend. I mean, no matter what, that's insane. But like...
Yeah, I didn't think I would hear that on Southern Charm.
Yeah, and then they're like, he's like, Molly, do you think Shep's tongue tastes like sandpaper? You should feel for yourself.
He was, speaking of horny, like
sex pest.
Yeah, sex pest, and a horny sex pest. He was really horny in that water. That probably makes more sense. I didn't know how drunk they were, but they must have gotten completely loaded on that boat by the time they got to Rose Island.
Yeah. Craig keeps being like, the water can be rocky, but the boat will keep sailing. Like, he's just like...
Yeah, he goes, let the waves wash over you. And everybody's like, did you just say that because we're in waves now?
Yeah. And then Shep has a one-on-one with Madison where he's like, look at that bluff over there. Sienna said, will you buy me this house? And it was like a $10 million house. And he goes... she goes, maybe you're not rich enough for her. And he goes, honestly, you're right. He's like, who even am I to think I deserve her? I'm a like walking disaster.
Yeah, he says this monologue. He goes, in the past, I was a wild man from hell. And he says, a lot of girls are just seeking a stable life, and I'm like Mr. Toad's wild ride. Which,
I mean,
we've been on
last
that.
night, proven.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Whitney is that rabbit that Mr. Toad gets drunk with, and then they go on that careening adventure until they crash into that train and they go to hell. So yeah, I liked him saying he's a wild man from hell, but he's sort of just he's possibly realizing that he's just not good enough for Sienna, but that's not really the right lesson to take from this. It's just that she wasn't the right person for you because she doesn't love you back. Right. And you'll find someone, and Madison gives him a sweet moment. She goes, you deserve to be loved as much as you are giving. And then he says, oh my God, thank you for saying that. I think him hearing it from Madison means a lot more than all the shit he hears from Craig and Austin, you know?
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, it looks like next week. I wonder if the stuff that happens in the preview is after the boat and they're still drunk, because we get a lot of tears, it looks like. Like Craig and Austin cry. I think Shep and Sienna finally have their conversation. We get a little more on the JT and Venita.
Think about what the JT scenes that he could have had. Austin and Craig are drunk as hell, and maybe that's when he does the Olive Kane joke again to Austin, and Austin goes, that is so funny the second time. I forgive you. JT, he deprived himself of redemption, of having good scenes, a huge misfire on JT's part, no matter how badly you're being. Well, I don't want to say no matter how badly you're treating, but, you know, he could have stood up to them and got his point across. I really feel like he could have. So that was a bummer.
Totally.
All right.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's been slow going. I'm ready to see the boys cry next week. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, me too. I think that'll give us some much needed entertainment. Okay, how do you feel about speaking of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, basically getting to the next stage of whatever the hell that ride is,
Yes.
And that would be talking about this is the end of Potomac, a wonderful season of Potomac, Real Housewives of Potomac, season 9, reunion part 3. This is the end of our Potomac journey together.
Yes.
What do you say before we get into it? What do you think about Potomac overall?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Even though last week I was like, reunion should have been 2 parts. I enjoyed the third part. So.
Me too. Yeah. I probably enjoyed it more than anything that happened in part 2. I think I loved the chaotic feeling of this, the stuff that Andy had to account for in real time.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a bonus, like we got a full bonus episode, but it was so worthwhile having all that stuff in there.
I love when Andy has to put his hand to his ear and communicate directly with the control room.
I love that too. I would almost put this season of Potomac just under the quality of season 5 of Salt Lake City, because I feel like people kind of overrated Salt Lake City a little bit because they still have that season 4 glow, the Monica shit. Yeah. It was just so entertaining the whole way through with no huge revelations, and that's how I kind of feel about Potomac. This was just so consistently funny and fun the whole way through, and then you get an amazing reunion like this that completely justifies the season, in my opinion.
Yes.
So
yeah. It starts out, Mia's like, it becomes clear quickly that she is going to be leaving. She asks her glam team to unlace her corset of her dress. Yeah. And I'm like, once that happens, there's no coming back. Yeah. Like,
yeah, a huge flop for Mia. I didn't think about her being gone for 1 second. Once she was out of there, out of sight, out of mind, everybody had fun without you. Everybody had dramatic moments without you. You left and no one cared. Like, that was the worst walkout moment I've ever seen. There was not 1 second where I said, I wish Mia was here to comment on anything. And you showed the world that that's possible. You just showed Bravo and Andy and everyone that they could have 45 minutes of amazing entertainment, and you weren't mentioned for 1 second. Barely.
Yeah, and she let Jacqueline take her spot, basically.
Yeah, she did.
She's going to come for your champagne flute. Is that what it is?
Oh, what the hell is Potomac? I thought it was a big Potomac River sculpture. No, you're right.
We determined it was a flute because when she was like, she just wants a flute, I was like, what does she mean?
Right. It's totally champagne. Okay, so immediately they don't let the Bravo audience, you and I, they don't let us hang for 1 second. They ask why TJ wasn't invited. Stacey said, because I didn't want him here. And they're all like suspicious. They're like, why not? Why wouldn't you want him here? And Stacey's like, because we're not dating anymore and he's not a part of my life. So I didn't want to invite him to the reunion. Yeah. And then Wendy goes, well, guess what? And this is the revelation, which we've all probably heard. It's like the most viral thing from this reunion. Eddie said to Wendy, he texted, he said, when he FaceTimed with TJ said on the phone as he was evacuating from the Los Angeles fires, he said he was paid to be Stacey's love interest on this season of Potomac. And everyone is shocked. Giselle and Ashley specifically are like giddy, like reveling, like they love it. They're like, they're just so happy that there's some horrible thing about Stacey that they can latch onto. It was wild how gleeful they all were about this revelation.
All believed it immediately.
What do you think before we go through? I mean, like, that's the accusation. What did you think?
Well, I just don't understand what's in it for her then, except unless it was like she wanted a storyline aside from her divorce or something.
No, I mean, yeah, that could be it. It just makes no sense. Why would you pay that person who berated you on camera, was such a dickhead to you, was so awful, fake on this show? You would never pay. She doesn't need to pay someone to be a significant other on this show.
Right. And wouldn't he be like nicer to her then if he was getting paid to be there and just act like her date instead of like being a freak all the time?
Absolutely. And I'm going to get fired up as we go through it, but we'll continue to talk about it. But immediately I was just like, why isn't everyone like, TJ is fucking lying. He's a liar. You all hated him. You all thought he was so lame. You said this guy sucks. He's fake. Your relationship is fake. But then the minute he says he's being paid, you're all like, well, that's set in stone. It's absolutely 100% the truth. I could not believe the reaction to that.
Yeah, apparently, I think we don't see the clip till later, but he was like said run him his money, the money's not adding up. She says she cannot believe it. She's like, I mean, we'll get to it. It takes a while to get there. But,
well, she first, which I rightfully, people think this is suspicious. Well, actually, you know what? No one is on Giselle and Ashley and Wendy's side. I looked at Stacey's comments and stuff, and most people are completely on Stacey's side that TJ is just lying. I did a TikTok about it. 99% of people believe Stacey, not TJ. So Giselle and Ashley and Wendy completely misread the Potomac audience. They thought that people were going to hate Stacey for some reason, but they don't. They're on Stacey's side. But she immediately says, I don't believe this. I don't believe that TJ, which this makes sense to me. She doesn't believe that TJ is that awful of a person that he would just make up a lie about her. But you and I and people who have watched this season, I think it's perfectly exactly what someone like TJ would do, is lie about you because you got embarrassed about how you appeared on camera. So at first she says she doesn't know how the reunion works, so she doesn't think that this could be a gotcha where she's made to talk shit about TJ before she actually hears the truth. So I respected the fact that she was like, I'm sorry, but until I see the evidence, I am not going to believe that TJ said something like that.
Yeah. It was also interesting that ultimately, before this happens, they were going to scrap any men coming out at all.
Yeah.
Like they got all dressed up for nothing. I wonder how often that happens.
I know, totally. Like, who would that be? Like, I was just thinking of all the husbands that would be like huffing and puffing backstage because they didn't get a chance to be on. But Jackie goes, why would you have to pay for a boyfriend? And like everybody's like, don't listen to Jackie. Don't listen to Jackie. Like, no one. What was so shocking to me is that not one person, even Andy, for 1 second will allow for the fact that maybe TJ just made something up. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, because for a while it's the question of if he said it. So they're trying to figure out, Andy's like, the camera that got that footage is still recording Mia right now.
Right.
So we're watching her. She leaves sobbing as if, I'm like, I watched that part 2 a week ago and I already don't remember why you're that upset.
Me neither.
What the hell?
No, seriously. It was her motherhood was questioned by Giselle after Giselle's motherhood was questioned. Like, it was the worst walkout. It was so lame. And once she was out, I go, hurry up, get the USB drive out of that camera and put it into the control room or whatever.
I know. I was like, I want to know the technology of, because ultimately they put it on an iPhone, and I'm like, is there like a cloud from the camera to a phone? Like,
imagine the producer who was responsible in that moment from getting the footage off that camera, getting it onto a phone, to have Andy watch it in real time with a cast member on the couch.
I
like,
love the Housewives always have a misunderstanding of the
Yeah.
ease at which you can roll a clip. Like they're always like, roll the clip, and I'm like, they can't just like roll a clip. Like that takes a lot of work.
That was so fun. I loved Andy in the moment coming up with how he thought they were going to segue to the clip. And he goes, and I bet we're going to see a clip of that in 3, 2, 1. And then Stacey goes, yeah, let's see it. And it's like, no, sorry. I'm just allowing for the edit for them to
like
put that clip in there.
It'll be on. Like,
yeah. That was great.
So yeah, this is when they're like, well, at the very least, we could get Eddie to come out and tell us what he heard. And so then they do the bring Eddie out. Bring Eddie out.
It's so funny. It is like one of the funniest moments in reunion history. So, for some reason, them all bouncing and chanting "Bring Eddie out"
Even
with
Stacey
Andy
does it, and Andy.
Yeah, it's too fun to deny. Everyone wants to do that chant.
Yes. But yeah, Jacqueline is still there. They're like, Mia has left the building. And Jacqueline's like, damn, like, I'm like, why is she still here?
It's just so chaotic at this point that to get Eddie in, they don't have Jackie having her exit, but I bet she was just loving life, still being on the couch. Eddie confirms, because Stacey didn't, know this up to this point, what this really meant. And Eddie, and it kind of a language that was not so clear cut at the start. He was just like, yeah, so I called him and he said he didn't like how he was being painted as flamboyant, and he didn't like the narrative that was being painted for him. And he was very upset that he wasn't invited to the reunion, which I'm like, doesn't that say a lot that he's just like stewing and completely pissed that Stacey didn't invite him to the reunion, so he's trying to get back at her?
Right. Yeah. And she's like, I literally don't know how I could owe him anything. And Andy keeps trying to figure out an alternate way, and where he's like, well, is there a world in which you said that you would pay for him to come join you or something? Because I'm like, that would make sense if she was like, come to these events with me, I'll fly you out, because it would be nice to like have you in these scenes and stuff. But she's like, no, I've never paid for anything. Like that's not even that.
Yeah. And Ashley and Giselle, I mean, I have to say, there's not big moments, but they are just so against Stacey at this point. They're like making fun of her. They're like, oh, was it Venmo or Cash App? Like they're just going back and forth.
It's giving threatened.
Yeah, they're just like being so mean. And I was really surprised. I know Giselle, like when she gets mad and she's mean, she's like, if she's at the right target, you're like loving Giselle. But if she's at the wrong target, like she is with Stacey, like I was so upset with how mean she was. And then Ashley, I was disappointed. I was like, Ashley, I felt like you're more nuanced and you would maybe throw Stacey a bone, but she was trying to get in every dig she could. And I think you're right. I mean, I do think that Stacey had a lot of power as a first-time cast member.
Yeah, and Kay too. She really... she was like calling bullshit. I was like, why do you care?
Exactly what Ryan and Sally were doing on Southern Charm about going against JT as their fodder for conflict. That's what Kay was doing. She was like going, I call absolute bullshit, Stacey. This is so fucked up. Like she, because they're rivals in a way.
Yeah.
As first-time cast members.
Yeah. Andy is like, why don't you call TJ right now and ask him what he meant by that? And she's like, I'm not doing that because, I mean, that is... a scary open-ended thing to do, because it's like, who knows what the fuck he's gonna say.
I completely understood why she didn't want to have a live recorded phone call with TJ, because also she says she's being very nice, but I think after the season aired and her family was sending her texts and calling her saying, get that guy out of your fucking life, he seems psychotic and evil, I will never let you be talked to like that by someone. Like that's how I felt. I was like, this guy is awful. I bet that she had a very kind Stacey-esque way of breaking up with him, and he went nuclear on her, and so why would she ever let him come back into her life on camera when he berated her on camera before, just to denounce a lie that you just found out about 1 minute ago? I would never call him either.
It made me think of if the glove don't fit, like they were saying, never ask a question in front of the jury that you don't know the answer to.
Oh, totally.
And so, like, because you don't know what's going to happen. So it's like, yeah, don't, like, call him live. God knows what he's going to say.
We didn't talk about the FaceTime call. It was so, like, he was so angry and upset, and I've heard his tone now. It was the exact same tone he had when he was yelling at Stacey when she walked away from him for 5 seconds, and he was so insecure that he couldn't be left alone. That same, like like he was really pissed off, and all he said was like, what was the exact words he said? Are we at that point?
Yeah.
Y'all, yeah.
He goes, she's paying me to do the show, man. You got to talk to that girl. She got to give me my money.
And it just was like, I feel like
it was giving like braggadocio, like he was trying to fit in with the guys and sort of be like, I don't want to be there anyway.
Yeah, but we know he was like really upset and stewing that he wasn't invited to the reunion. I mean, yeah, I think that his motivation was if Stacey cast him aside, he's a person that definitely needs some therapy or something, and if Stacey was going to cast him aside, he wanted to hurt her as much as he could by making a salacious comment that is so within the Bravo universe that we would all have our eyes roll back in our head, because like that is like one of the most slanderous things you can say, that Stacey is fake. And so that's what I think TJ was doing.
Yes. So yeah, she's like still in shock. She's like, that is so hurtful. Andy gets on the couch next to her to show her the clip, which is kind of funny. I don't know if he's ever done that before.
No, he was only the first time he was ever on the couch. We recapped it. It was on Atlanta when Drew Sidora was singing that beautiful song to Ralph, and Andy got on the couch. He goes, I've never been on the couch before. And then he listened to that beautiful, amazing song that Drew sung. So this is his maybe only second time on the couch.
Yeah. And then Wendy's like, I just want to point out for the record that my husband did not lie. Earlier they call him Eddie the whistleblower.
Yeah, totally. It was also so weird that when TJ has that audio where he's like, she needs to pay me, everyone was just like, open and shut case, Your Honor. It's perfect.
They didn't even listen to the rest.
He said it. It's real. Like as if this is a show where lies can't happen. Where this person, TJ, that you don't like and you think is really shitty, would not lie on this show. I didn't understand. He also
calls her whack.
He calls her whack, and Andy goes, I thought that was really mean. But to be honest, for me fully, Andy was just not properly calibrated for this scene. He's really on the side of everyone else that why would TJ lie? And I was like, did you watch the dailies of this season? He seems like someone, an actor, a fake person, and he was treating Stacey like shit. I don't know why him lying seems so out of the realm of possibility for even Andy.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what benefit she would get from paying him to participate. So
he wasn't good on camera. Yeah, worst acting job of his life. He was horrible.
Yeah. And then she said, hurt people. And she's like, I won't call him here, but I will be calling him with my attorney.
And they go, stop it, Stacey. They go, get ahead of this now. You look like absolute shit. This is horrible. You're going to get, the edit is going to come out. They're going to roll the tapes on you. Get ahead of it now. And Stacey's like, I'm being honest. I have no fucking clue what this guy is talking about. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like their reaction.
TJ turned off all his comments. I saw that.
Okay, yeah. And he has, to this day, as of our recording, he has not shown one screenshot. I'm surprised he didn't get on like Figma or some design software and start making up fake Venmos. Stacey to TJ, $1,000. And with a champagne flute
and like a camera.
Yeah, a camera and a champagne flute. He didn't even do that. It's like he has no receipts. Stacey, for the most part, right now is completely vindicated, and it's Stacey and Ashley and Wendy and Kay that look like complete bullies.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Stacey?
I have no doubts. Yeah.
Oh my God! Oh, one of the best first season cast members I've ever seen. She's amazing.
She's very fun to watch. She's kooky in a way that we don't get often, because like,
half the reunion
she's nice, but she's weird.
Yes.
And entertaining.
It's perfect. It's a completely interesting new personality into Potomac, and I if I was being a little stinker, I would say that Giselle is just absolutely so jealous of Stacey and wants to take her down as quickly as she can.
Right. Okay, so pretty much the rest of the show is about Karen.
Oh my God. This was as wild as the Stacey and TJ stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. So they sort of like are getting back into everything that happened.
Yeah.
They're like Andy's like, do you guys think she had a drinking problem? Ashley's like, I think she drank to cope. So kind of threw her a little bit of a bone there. Jacqueline is like, I got dragged all season for saying that Karen drunk dials, but obviously that's true. And then Giselle is like, I think what she was like trying to like warn you is that like, this is going to fuck up my case if you keep giving credence to my poor behavior regarding drinking.
Yes.
And they brought up that Karen threatened to sue her, and she was like, after this court shit and her going to jail, she's not going to have money to sue me.
Nobody liked that joke. It was like absolute crickets. Then a question that everyone has comes up, and it's, why the hell did Karen go to trial on this thing? It makes no sense. Andy's like, what was she thinking? And then they postulate, they're like, I don't think Karen saw the footage. Stacey's like, she couldn't have seen it. Who would ever go to trial if you knew that body cam footage was coming out? And everybody goes, she must have had awful legal counsel. Like, they must have just been giving her the worst advice throughout the process. Yeah,
apparently they did ask for the footage to be suppressed, which obviously wasn't honored. Giselle brings up, this is unofficial. I don't know where she heard this, but she claims she heard that she was originally offered 6 months house arrest or 60 days in jail, which, if that's true, and she actually turned that stuff down, that's like absolutely insane.
Your Honor, I object to that sentence. I want to go to trial.
Bat shit.
Yeah, I don't know. A part of me is like, I don't believe anything that Giselle says anymore.
Yeah.
After her having the worst take of the century with this TJ and Stacey thing, I'm just like, what else do you just fully lie about? The Chris shit.
Yeah, totally. But I'm like, that kind of sounds right if, like, to avoid going to trial, they offer you 2 months and then you go to trial and lose and you get a year. Like, that seems like within reason.
Yeah, but there's no way, I have to say, there's no way that Karen saw that footage and said, I want the judge to see this and a jury to see this and make their verdict based on this. I
don't understand what happened, but also, we'll get to it, but when Karen and Ray are talking later, I'm like, oh, you guys like shouldn't be in charge of any of this. Like, you're still not clear on what you did.
Yeah. That scene is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen in my life, and I'm so glad they let it just be commented on in real time at the reunion. That was rough. Okay, so what? All right. So what else is happening? Ashley then goes, "Hey, I have to mention something now." Apparently in the body cam footage, which I was watching this body cam footage again, no one's even talking about the fact that the cop says, get away from that car, it's about to explode. I've already brought that up, but no one brings up that moment that the car was on fire and was starting to smoke as Karen was sitting on the hood of it. But anyway, Ashley goes, apparently Karen said, where did the person, I wasn't driving, why did that person hop out like that? And then they reference security, that she has security that Ray, has
hired.
go with her. And it's like, they're saying that possibly a drunken,
that doesn't even make sense.
A drunken security guard, or
why did he tuck and roll?
Or that's the lie in the moment to get a boyfriend or cheating lover who ran. But I don't know. I mean, would Karen really go to prison to not have Ray find out that she was cheating with someone in the car? No way. She had to have been driving,
he was
right?
Drunk too.
He's drunk as Karen? 2 people that drunk in the car? There was beers all over the car too.
Yeah,
they said.
What the fuck?
Oh my God. It was, I don't want to bring up Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, but they have beers they have a bunch of random empty beer bottles when you're on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Like, that was a ride.
Fired at Stella.
Oh, we'll get into it. Yeah. So, right. So let's get into it. Let's say that now. Right? Yeah. Let's say it now. So the footage, Andy goes, I have some footage to show you all.
December 27th, 2024.
Yeah. Karen's
in full glam, like styled, pretending to read in bed, like strewn across the bed.
Did you see what she was reading?
I couldn't tell.
Presumed Innocent. She was dressed really like I don't know what they were trying to do. It came off as such a fake, scripted scene. She's reading a book. She goes, Ray, come in here. And then they have this scene that they wanted to be shown at the in the finale, I guess, as the final word on what was happening to Karen. And in it, they give absolutely every single counter evidence you could bring up to obfuscate the fact that Karen was just drunk as hell and drove and crashed into something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's like, I never did watch those tapes. And Ray's like, I didn't either. And I'm like, well, you fucking should have. And she goes, they're telling me that I blacked out before the impact. So everything that happened after that, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. And I was like, do you mean like you were blackout drunk? Or you like passed out and then that's why you crashed? Like, what are you trying to say?
Having blackout anywhere near this conversation is not good at all in any way. I really, that was an interesting new detail. And then Ray is having a different scene at the same time where Karen is trying to take a little bit of accountability and Ray is trying to give all of the factoids about drunk driving and car accidents and construction sites. He goes, that road was under construction, new construction, right? And Karen goes, but Ray, that doesn't matter. It was a complete awful construction site that I crashed into, but no, I have to have accountability here.
Yeah. So she brings in what we already know, that she said she started self-medicating 7 years ago when her parents died, but she has been adjusting the meds herself and just like increasing the dose and like being willy-nilly with the pills. She says that she was at a friend's house, even though Giselle had said previously that she was at like a restaurant 5 minutes from her house. But here she said she was at a friend's house. She opened a Stella, didn't like the beer, so she switched to champagne.
Oh my God. Do you know how many Stella ad executives now are fuming? The fact that Karen said that she just had one sip and couldn't drink one more.
It's like the opposite of Mary Cosby and Miller High Life.
Oh, yeah. That's what you want. And what Karen did is the exact opposite. So she had to switch to champagne to wash the taste of that horrible Stella out of her mouth.
And she goes, and I forgot that I had upped my dose. So, and as you know, we have an agreement for me not to drink and drive. And that's why you got me that driver, which is why everyone was always saying that I was fucking my driver blue eyes.
Ray is like, that is so interesting. That is where that blue eyes rumor came from. And then everyone, Giselle and Ashley are watching. They're like, geez, they are really covering all their bases here with all this shit. Accounting for cheating rumors, the person being in the car, her being drunk. I was also thinking, like, it's so horrible for Karen she says, like, I didn't see the footage. But if you knew you were blackout drunk, isn't it like worst case scenario? You don't know what you did or said. Shouldn't that have been enough evidence for you to say, I don't want to go to trial? You don't remember what happened.
Right. Yeah. And Ray's like, and as we know, 12 or 13 years ago, you got a DUI, and through some kind of series of events, I don't understand, you ended up back here again somehow. And I'm like, yeah she did it again. And then Giselle and Ashley are like, turn it off. I can't even watch this. And Andy's like, no, like, we're watching it.
But it's so bad. And I'm like, oh my God, like, are all Karen scenes like this? Or is it just because this is such a heavy lift for both of them to do to try to exonerate her for the audience that they are just sucking at it? Like, but it's like, if Karen acts this way, like, oh my God, this is a new level of delusion that she is subjecting everyone to.
It's so crazy.
And this scene sucks. I mean, it sucks. Ray, this is when he goes, do you know, he goes, can I just say, I have to say this. There are 6 million car crashes per year. So yours was just one of those. I mean, it's much more common than you even think. And Karen's like, yes, I know, Ray. That's an interesting fact, but still, I have to have accountability for what happened.
Yeah. Was that like supposed to be like a setup for her to, like, he can be like, anyone could crash. And she has to be like, but I was self-medicating, so I can't say it was just like any other crash.
Yes.
And she goes, and I'm not going away because I'm court ordered. I'm doing it for me. And I'm like, no, you are doing it because you're court ordered. No one wants to go to jail.
Yeah, well, this
Although
was
that is what happens in the movie Plane.
what what he oh you wait.
Do you want
Yes.
me to spoil it, or do you want to see it still?
Let me watch Flight tonight or in the next right before I'm taking a flight to Eugene. So let me watch Flight right before.
I don't know if you want that in your head.
I know. No, but yeah, save it for me. But I am going to watch Flight so soon.
I'm just going to continue to bring up that random 10-year-old movie.
No, of course I want
week.
to. Yeah.
And she says again that she's going to retire the title of Grande Dame because Karen is enough. I'm like, you already said that, so you know.
So Grande Dame metaphorically lost their life in that crash, and now Karen Huger is reborn from it. Yeah,
rose out of that car.
Yeah,
I think is it Wendy that goes, well, what about the beers in the car?
Yeah, a bunch of beers apparently were flopping out of the car when Karen got out of there, and they didn't that security guard jumping out of the car or whatever. They didn't even allow for that, even though you would think that would possibly exonerate them. They must not want to give. That must not be true.
No, like that. No, that doesn't make sense. And then Ashley goes, well, actually, on my way here, I guess she took the train to New York. That she was making small talk with a guy across from her on the train she goes, I'm on Real Housewives of Potomac. And he goes, what is that? And she shows him like a picture or something. He goes, oh, I know that woman. He's like, I used to work at Legal Seafood at the mall, and she would go and day drink there every day.
Oh my God. Legal. Oh my God. That's
like a wild regulars, like a place to go get your daily
Legal
dose.
Seafood at the Montgomery Mall. Have you ever had legal? I want to go so bad. Have you ever had Legal Seafood?
I don't think so. It's a chain, though, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I had never heard about it before. But yeah, and then Wendy goes, "Hey, that's also the accusation that I was going to make that I was too scared to say. So now I'll just say it too. That I know that Karen also gets drunk as hell at this restaurant almost every day. So this has been a ongoing thing. They both say
it appears to be a East Coast thing, but it looks nice."
It does.
Yeah.
The name, I'm trying to think, I only have questions about what makes, what is illegal versus legal seafood. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me kind of question, like, oh, wow, some stuff about it. But I would definitely go if you wanted to at the mall.
Okay. So, yeah, it's like just everyone's now they're talking about being worried about that she's in her 60s going to jail. Like, that's just like not good. Like, they're like, she's not gonna be able to wear a wig. Like, it's just gonna suck.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And she got sentenced like right after. Like, she had to go.
She had to walk straight out, which is so crazy.
That scene did more damage like than there was before. Like I like it just added to the Karen delusion that we've seen all season. Like, that had the exact opposite effect than filming that thing together. Correct. It left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. They're like, that sucked. Yeah. Giselle goes, scrap that from the record. That was horrible.
I know. Oh my God. By the way, I saw right before we jumped on, I saw new photos of Jen Shaw and Elizabeth Holmes working out in the prison yard.
I just saw them too. If that was on your algorithm, I just got that too. It was so awesome. They were throwing this football back and forth.
I mean, the way I would get so fit if I was there, because like there's literally nothing else to do.
Yeah, I would do the exact same thing. They are going to come out being best friends.
Oh my God, that's a show.
Andy says, okay, well, this is horrible. What a bad place to end this with the resolution of Karen and all the sentencing. He goes, Stacey, how do you feel about that shit that TJ was definitely being honest about? And Stacey goes, I lost a best friend tonight, but still I rise. And everybody goes,
screamed.
Yeah, but still I rise. And everybody goes, shut up, Stacey. That sucks. Don't talk about Maya Angelou.
That was hilarious. That's such an insane thing to say.
I don't know. I mean, is it?
Yes.
But still I rise? I don't know.
It's like as if she went through like the trauma of a lifetime, like, but still I rise.
All right. Possibly a corny moment. I'll give the world that. But I didn't like how everybody latches onto that and makes fun of Stacey, because I can't handle much more Stacey hate at this reunion.
Right. And then Andy goes, speaking of Maya Angelou, we lost Mia Angelou.
Pretty good.
And I'm like, you can have that. That's fine. And they're all like, what the hell, Andy?
Yeah. And then sadly it ends with the sentencing update. What we talked about, I don't know, last week. It's like a suspended sentence, a year in prison. She had to immediately go to prison. It is, so awful for Karen. I
Yeah,
feel so bad for her.
brutal. I
Yeah.
hope she's like okay. I also wanted to say that I got a TikTok of someone that was watching Say Yes to the Dress, and I can't remember if maybe a long time ago I had seen this before, but it was Gordon and Mia's wedding on Say Yes to the Dress. And at first I just saw Gordon and I was like, oh, was he married before? Because I did not recognize the woman next to him. And then I started reading the comments and I was like, wait. And I watched it again and I was like, that's Mia. She looks so different. Like she's in like the top echelon of housewives that are unrecognizable from before their show. Like I look at it and I'm like, my brain does not accept that that is the same person.
Their whole wedding was on Say Yes to the Dress?
Well, usually you watch them select the dress and then they'll do like a little clip package at the end of them, like the like two main ones. They'll like show you a little wedding package at the
Was
end.
it good, their episode?
I only watched the clip, but I probably watched it at the time. I watched the shit out of that show for many years.
Well, I want to see that. I want to
Yeah.
see Mia and Gordon
sure we
getting
can
ready
find it.
for yeah, of course. I would love that. Well, so Potomac, I mean, I think a great season. There was a couple lulls in there maybe where you and I were like they're spinning their wheels, but I think it was fun. I think everyone obviously should be invited back. I was just going to ask you of the Jazzy, Jacqueline, Kay, what do you think the movement is going to be on that? Obviously, Stacey is probably returning with a flute. Do you think Kay potentially earned the flute with the Greg stuff and she's getting married? I think there was like a proposal in there.
Right. Yeah. Do you think, because like Jacqueline, I feel like doesn't have a spot without Mia.
Right.
And I could see them getting rid of Mia because she just seems like a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much like active lying there was and faking shit for the cameras. I'm sure they'll determine that. She didn't do herself any favors by leaving. I could see a Jacqueline season where she turns on Mia if Mia was still invited back and she's like, I absolutely abhor Mia, how you treat me. So maybe that would be a good thing for Jacqueline. I would give Kay another season too. And then maybe Jazzy just stays, Jazzy and Jacqueline just stay friend of and just see what happens organically if they start to, bubble up with conflict and everything else.
Yeah. No, I think Stacey could be very powerful moving forward and take up a lot more space.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, great. Well, I think we did justice to both of those episodes. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was good. And then, as always, we'll be back with, I think it'll be Beverly Hills and Summer House later this week.
Yes. Yep. Totally. That'll be coming out Thursday morning, bright and early, right when you open your eyes in your podcast app. We will have that episode for you. Well, Amy, I will just say, if anybody in the world watched this on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform, and you said, I loved everything about that episode of Turtle Time. I just need more of it. There's only 2 episodes a week. What the hell? Well, why not go to the Patreon? It's called the Villa Rosa VIP program, the Turtle Time Patreon. And you could pay $5 a month and you get access to an entire archive of Amy and I recapping Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning. And you also get access to this sanctuary of discussion where everyone is nice to each other and sweet. And it's just a fun place. Plus, don't forget about the over 95 to 100 episodes of content you get access to as well for $5. So I think it's a very fun place.
Totally. If I didn't do it myself, like, I would want to be on there. Like, I like reading what everyone says. So I think it's the bargain of the century. Our prices have not been inflated.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, a peek behind the curtain, Patreon keeps going, it's been so long since you raised your prices. Raise them now. Please raise them. And it's still $5.
I've been hearing this, and I feel like we should post about it, but if you aren't a member and you want to join, it behooves you to do it on your desktop computer because there's some weird bullshit in the app store that if you do it on your mobile device that it will charge you more. So if you're on a regular computer, do it there.
Yeah, because Tim Cook wants a little cut of Turtle Time for some reason.
Sick of him.
Me too. Tim Cook. Invent something new.
Loser.
All right. Great. Wonderful. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Patreon. And please, this is so sweet. If I go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and I see a new review from someone who says, these two people have the worst takes, but I just can't stop listening to that shit. I love it. Or even if you like our takes, when I see a 5 or a 4-star, I absolutely love it. It's so fun. So if you want to write a review, and even if you hate this, I don't like seeing 1-star reviews, but if you have to, say something like that, you can as well. I allow it.
Freedom of speech. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we love you. We'll be back.
We love you. See you on Thursday. Bye.